Let's talk about how did this come together? So you're like, hey, I made this huge transformation. I feel like a lot of other kids could benefit from this. Why not just like put out your exact protocol of what you did? Why did you think like, well, maybe we should like go bigger with this? Maybe we should partner with myself. Like what's your thought process there? Because I think people are curious on that backstory of how that originally occurred.
It's definitely because I love it. Like this is something I really love. Is like I don't study it to the degree you do, but like I became obsessed with like how can I make myself faster and how can I jump a little higher. Like we all love dunking and everything, and I felt like it was in my best interest to partner with you because you're the king of this. You know what I mean? So it was a no brainer. If it's a money grab, you probably just put it out. You partner with a certain brand and you put it out. But I definitely want to make an impact in people's lives with this. And you can do all these things like we were just talking about and just go through the motions, and it's not gonna. You're like, oh, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? But if you like really dedicate yourself, like it's gonna work. And I'm excited to see that.
That was a thing that you were big on early on. Is you're like, this has to be really good, or we're not putting it out. Like I don't want to put together something that's like sloppy. I don't want kids getting decent results. Like we want to see real results, and it's got to be good in order to put it out. So that was very smart on your end. Is like, okay, you have the intuition of like, this is what worked for me. This is what I feel. But like, I have the scientific side, and I'm a coach, so I can coach people through the drills and build the progressions. And that's why that partnership worked out so well. The funny thing is like, so basically how it worked is Mac brought me the protocol of what they did. And it was kind of like all the drills laid out. Not exactly progressions of how to get to the drills, because some kids maybe weren't as athletic even as you were when you started. So then my job was like, okay, Mac did this drill well. Well, how do we regress that? How do I have an easier version that progresses towards that point? And so that was a big part for me, was I just want logical progressions and regressions for everything. And so that's kind of like, it was just this great combination of you did everything very well yourself. I can look at it from a scientific standpoint and be like, this makes sense. Let's throw this out. Let's add this in. And it worked out, and kids are getting great results on it now. So another cool thing about the program was when you brought this idea to me, you're like, hey, I got this great stuff that worked for me. I want you to put it all together. And I was like, because I've had so many NBA players that I'll be like, hey, how'd you get tall? And they're like, well, I ate Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And I'm like, that's not how you got tall. That's how they actually thought they got tall. So people don't always understand like why something worked, or did this work, or was it this other thing? But when you brought me the protocol and I started looking at it, and I started realizing like it really matches up with the science. Like whether you guys knew it at the time, you guys had a really like scientifically sound program. What you did was, which there's this term called extensive plyometrics, which is popular now it's always been popular in Russia in the mid 1900s, but it's just now trickling into America. Basically, extensive plyos is like low level, lower intensity. I'm not all out maximal jumps. Dot drill is extensive plyos. A ladder is actually extensive plyos. And what we know now is it's helping you build the tendons. It helps you build healthier tendons. And so when I saw the protocol, I'm like, oh, you started off with a lot of extensive plyos. So whether or not you knew that terminology and you knew the science, you were doing it. And so that's what's cool, is like sometimes just the intuition and just the natural ability to be like, I feel like this is good for my body. It actually matches up with what the science has proven as well. So that was cool for me to be like, actually, this is a very good protocol. We can work with this. And then I just had to go and kind of fine tune it a little bit. Did your dad have a background in training, or was he kind of just going off what he felt like worked?
I definitely need to get the details of that story of how he put this together.
I would love to know that.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't asked him. I just kind of would go with the flow. But no, I trusted him, and he was like, man, I'm going to put this program together. And I don't know what made him. I know at Virginia Tech, maybe he did a little bit of this, but, like football players are probably lifting most of the time. So he must have done some research on his own. I think he did, actually, now that I'm remembering the conversation. But, yeah, no, I'm lucky, man. If I would have been with someone who was like, man, we're going to get you jacked, and do everything, you know what I mean? But no, he was like, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to make you athletic. And I was like, man, so I'm super lucky he came up with that, and I definitely need to get the backstory on that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's always interesting to me. So we put out the program. We got the 16-week body weights, and then we got the 16-week elite version, and that involves a weight room. And typically what we advise is like basically do what Mac did, was like before puberty, or if you just don't have access to a weight room, or if you're not very well trained, you don't need weights. Like you could just do body weight. You could do these plyos, extensive plyos. We progress it really well. And so you could do that at home. You could literally do it in your garage like Mac did. You could do it in your living room. And then, after puberty, or once you start getting some experience in the weight room, I think that elite version has been working really well for people. And that's where we still, the focus is still plyometrics, agility, but we also have some lifting in there as well. So you can get stronger, and it is full body as well. So full body strength that translates over to basketball, to any sport really. It's so much more than vertical jump, even though it's called a jump program. It really is so much more than that, from the balance, the strength, stability, all that good stuff. And I feel like that's stuff that even you today, it's not just stuff you did in high school. Like this is stuff that you still do on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Mish again. I think, he collaborates with me when I tell him, hey, this is what works with me, this is what doesn't. And, that's hard sometimes with people who are professionals at their job. And you're like, hey, can I put my 2 cents in? Can I do this because it works? And, being surrounded by good people, again, I'm able to keep doing those. And if I'm not, I'm going to do them on my own and keep up.
Yeah. Backstory on that, Mish is their strength coach.
Yes.
Right. And good dude, very, very smart guy. And when we came out with the program, he signed up. He hit me up. He's like, I'm doing the program. And like, first of all, that you have to let go of your ego to do one of your own players' programs. That's awesome already, but he did it. He actually got good results. Like he's throwing down.
Yeah,
not many strength coaches are dunking.
Yeah, no, you should check out his Instagram. We'll plug that. But he like dunked he dunked with 2 hands for the first time in like several years. He was telling me and all this. It's amazing. He documents his results. It's super cool.
And so then he could take his experience and still have his program that he's like running you through when you're with the team. But he's like, let's incorporate this because I know you feel good with this. So that is awesome. Like for any strength coaches listening, the ability to listen to your players and like what actually works for them is huge. So many people are like, well, I'm the strength coach. I went through 6 years of college. Like, I'm not going to do what works for you. I'm doing what works by the book. So that's pretty cool.